This is your ultimate guide to Sorare and Sorare NBA. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Swingman podcast channel. In this video, I'm going to be running you through everything you need to know as a beginner, as an intermediate, and as an advanced user on Sorare and Sorare NBA. So even if you consider yourself a pro, stick around, you might even learn something new. In this video specifically, we're going to be running through everything NBA side. That's our jam here at the Swingman podcast. If you haven't signed up to Sorare yet, there's going to be my link in the description down below. It will help me out more than you could possibly imagine. You'll also get 20 free cards, and it's a win-win for everyone. Before we dive into it, hit the subscribe button, leave a like on the video, and let's go. So you've just been given your 20 free cards from Sorare for signing up, and you want to know how do they score points. It's really, really simple. A point is a point, so any point scored. An assist is 1.5 points, and a rebound is 1.2 points. Blocks and steals, they come out as 3 points a pop. If they make a three-pointer, it's an extra point, so you'll get essentially 4 from that, and then a double-double is an extra point, and a triple-double is an extra point. The only negatives come from if a player turns the ball over, so if it's either a sloppy pass or they get it stolen from them, then they'll lose 2 points off their score. As an example of this on a visual representation here, as you can see, Ben Simmons, he scored in the Nets v Warriors game. He got 29.1 fantasy points. He had 7 points, he had 3 rebounds, which equates at 1.2 each to score at 3.6. He had 11 assists at 1.5 each, equates to 16.5. He had 1 block, which is 3 points, had 1 steal, which is 3 points, but he turned the ball over twice, coming out on -4 for -2 each. If he'd have had any 3-pointers, it's Ben Simmons, so it's very unlikely. If he'd have had any 3-pointers, he'd have got an extra point for each one, and the same thing, if he'd have got a double-double or a triple-double, an extra 1 point would have been awarded. This is my gallery of common cards that I've acquired just simply by playing this game. Common cards you get for free at the start, and you can also win them in common competitions, which we'll touch on later. As you can see, each card has a certain number below them. This will be their L10, as in their last 10 games. It's an average score that they've acquired across those last 10 games. Some will be higher, some will be lower, but it'll always be an average. This is key for when you're going and playing specific competitions that require L10 caps. If there's any questions you've got, put them in the comments down below and we'll get to them. So for example, the upcoming week for me, as I'm recording this video, is game week 29. There are 3 different types of common lineups for which I can play those grey cards that you saw earlier. As you can see, they've all got a cap here of 110, 120, and 120, meaning that for common champion, for example, if I go in here, so he is subject to the points cap. He can be anybody that you want. So I'll pick LeBron James here for 59. As you can see, my L10 doesn't change, and I've now got 30 across the last 4 positions. So if I try to play Luka, Embiid, Tatum, and Giannis, I'm out of money. I've gone over by 98. It simply doesn't work. And this is designed to make sure that people just don't play the best 5 cards in every competition at all time. There sometimes are no cap ones, but for common champion, it's always the same set of rules. As such, I'd have to go out and find 4 different players that all fit in within 120 L10, and that's how it works. That is the points cap. Each of these game weeks runs at the same time every week. There isn't a different lock and a different deadline like some other fantasy sports. Sorare NBA is exactly the same time each week. Obviously, this depends upon where you are playing within the world, but normally it will be Monday to Thursday and then Friday to Sunday. So we touched on the common lineups and tournaments that you can enter and use your free cards to play in. There's actually 5 levels of scarcities within Sorare NBA. Common cards cannot be sold. They are yours to keep. They're free for everyone, but you cannot trade them and sell. The other 4, however, you can. So if you're ever interested in acquiring any of the 4 different tradable versions of cards, you'd always come over to the market tab. Now on the market tab, as you can see, we've got new card auctions, we've got starter packs, and we've got manager sales. Starter packs is a relatively new thing from Sorare NBA. You can buy directly from them 5 cards that would have scored very well in a previous game week. For example, these 2 here, 59th and 44th in limited contender of game week 27. So these are cards directly from Sorare that you buy: Evan Mobley, Keegan Murray, Larry Nance Jr., Bismack Mayombo, and Ish Wainwright. So these 5 guys would have came in at 59th in the last game week. That's not to mean that these 5 guys will score high again the next week. This is how the NBA works, and this is how Sorare NBA works. But it's a general gist for new buyers and people with relatively little information coming in and just wanting to play. New card auctions. These are designed and specifically sold immediately from Sorare. These are freshly minted cards, meaning nobody has ever owned them before. They'll have all 4 scarcities available for purchase. Normally, all 4 will be there. Sometimes there may not be the last one. Limited card types are your most common trade type cards. If we scroll down here, we'll click on a Jamal Murray and we'll inspect his card. So as you can see from looking at the card here, the year 1 edition is below. This just means that this is the first year that the NBA has been on Sorare, and there's a little symbol underneath each card type to show that. This also says the year that he is, where he plays, his name, and his team. And as you can see in the background, it says limited a few times as well, just to reinforce the fact that this is a limited card. You can see his mint number is 947 out of 5,000, meaning if all of the limited cards across Sorare NBA for this season can go up to a maximum of 5,000. That doesn't mean a minimum, it means a maximum. So if you scroll down on Jamal Murray here, you can see the blockchain details for the card here. This will take you to an external website that shows you all of the specific details relating to this particular NFT and this version of Jamal Murray. You can see all of the people here that have bidded on this card since it was launched on the auction site. So it starts out very fresh. People will bid. You have to bid a minimum of 5% more, I do believe, that was on the last bid. It'll also show you its latest 5 scores. I wish it did show its last 10 in specific to, especially when you're looking at the L10 here, but this is what it is. So the last few limited sales are also shown here, and you can see that there's 5 that have gone across here. Public offers and manager sales, which are trades between people, which we'll touch on in a moment, and auctions are freshly minted cards bought directly from Sorare. So manager sales is often referred to actually as the secondary market. It's peer-to-peer trading. I have a card, you have a card, I want to buy it, you want to buy it. You don't go through Sorare. Sorare do take a 5% commission on these cards, which is different, I do believe, to both football and Major League Baseball, but for the time being, it's 5% commission. So the way in which manager sales works, if I scroll down here, so here we go. We've got Otag here. He's selling a Darius Baisley card. You can see here there's a little red stripe, which you might not have noticed before. They can actually show you it's the one-off card, so the first of 100 in the rare case, or it can also be the jersey mint of the card. They can sometimes add value to cards. It depends on your collector level and how you value these sort of things. If I click on the card, I can scroll down and I can see that he won this card a couple months ago now for £61, and he's up for sale for £132. If I want to trade, if I want to outright buy the card, I can click buy, or I can click trade and send him over an offer. Be careful not to send over really silly offers, because it can annoy people. It would annoy me if you do it, and it can lead to you getting blocked. And if you get blocked enough times, I do believe it restricts your access from being able to send people offers. Just treat others how you'd want to be treated yourself. So if I wanted to send him an offer though, I can click here, send, add a card, and it brings up my personal gallery of which I could select cards that I want to trade with. So I could send him over a Joe Harris and a couple of limited cards near enough the value of which I believe a Darius Baisley rare with a jersey mint should be going for. You can also take a look at his cards by clicking on add card, and it will show everyone in his specific gallery, meaning you can then make a trade tailored to the both of you. So rare cards are the second level up. A rare card is the second rarest level card in Sorare that is tradable. These are minted to 1 of 1,000. Again, this isn't a minimum, it is a maximum. So Sorare are well within their rights to not mint a full amount, which isn't a bad thing. It can benefit people, but it just lets you know and gives you peace of mind that at the end of this season, there can no longer be any more than 1,000 of these cards. Super rare is the penultimate level of scarcity within Sorare NBA. These cards are minted to 1 of 100, meaning that again, a maximum of only 100 of these cards can be produced within this NBA season. And finally, the rarest of them all, the uniques, the 1 of 1s. This means it's essentially what it is. It is unique. It's a 1 of 1. There are no other versions of it. There will be only 1 per season. Normally, you can find these on the new card auctions. Sorare will mint these, and they do a relatively good job of pushing these across their social platforms to let you know if your favorite NBA player is ever going. Unique cards can go for crazy amounts of money. If we look on the manager sales tab here for uniques and what people are selling them for, Julius Randle having an unbelievable season for the Knicks personally. He sold for £10,663. He's up for sale now for £28,000. Whether or not you think that's worth it is up to your own decision. This is what these unique cards go for. They are crazy amounts of money on this platform. But unique cards are not what you need to play this game. You can very easily play it with common cards, with limited cards, with rare cards, and super rares if you want to go that route. Me personally, I play common, limited, and rare. So you may have also noticed across all of the cards, you'll have their L10 number, but there'll also be a percentage point next to them. This comes with every single card across the platform. This is the percentage boost that they get for that particular season, i.e. for common cards at the start of this season, they're all given a 5% boost from when they're minted. So if you win one, it'll always come with 5%. If you play them throughout the year, they will earn XP as you play them, or in training lineups, which we'll get onto shortly. The more you play them, the more XP, and the better they do, the more XP. This varies across scarcities within the platform. If you're finding any of this helpful, please make sure you drop a subscribe button down below. It would really help us out here on YouTube. And if you're interested in an NBA podcast, we've been doing it now for over 3 years. We've started to upload them on YouTube a bit more regularly, but you can find them on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. It's all there for the Swingman podcast. If we go on to manager sales and we look at limited cards, You can also see that they come with 5%, but you can also see that some have different amounts. Again, rare cards, they will come with a 15% bonus, meaning that they'll always start with 15 and they can be trained up and earn more and more points from this way. As you can see here explained, the season starts with 5. The rarity of the rare card, you get a 10% boost. He's earned 2.5% XP as a bonus through training, but non-transferable amount is 0.5, meaning I wouldn't receive that amount here. Super rares, again, they stay with the 5% that they're given at the start. They get a 20% rarity bonus, and then the XP bonus and the non-transferable XP that comes with it. And then finally, uniques, as you would expect going along this linear tiered progression system, uniques come with the most amount. They have a 40% XP bonus. But this isn't pay to win in the regard of that you only have to have uniques because they've got the biggest XP bonus. Sorare do a job of limiting the tournaments to specific card types only, meaning that uniques can't play in limited competitions. So people that spend all this money on a big unique card can't enter it in the limited one and blow you out of the water like that. If we go back to the play tab and you look at the upcoming slate of games and tournaments that are within that particular game week, you can scroll down and always take a look. Let's look at limited champion, for example. This shows me that it's allowed 5 limited cards, meaning I can't play any commons, I can't play rares, super rares, or uniques. It's only the limited version. It's an MVP, so someone that would be exempt of the L10, and then someone that has a 120 point budget within the last 4 guys. So I could go for 4 guys with 30, I could go for 2 guys with 40, 2 guys with 20, and any variation that goes within 120 points. You can see that at the moment 2,529 people have joined, and then also the rewards that come with it. So if we click onto this, it will show you the games that are involved in this particular game week, and if you've already entered a team, it will highlight the people that are playing in those games for you in that particular tournament. The prize pool is where everyone wants to see what can I win if I do well in that particular game. So as you can see, it pays out for prizes up to 1,190. So people that are within 821 to 1,190 will win a limited tier 5, so on and so forth, 516, 820 for a tier 4, above, and above. So let's say I came 151st. I would win a limited tier 2 card. Now, you might be thinking, oh, I don't know what a limited tier 2 card is. I've got no idea. How am I meant to understand that? It's really simple. You click on the limited card here, and it will bring you to the rewards tab. On here, you can see in this particular game week, these are what they class as a tier 2 reward. Players are always eligible to change their tiers in Sorare NBA due to simply because in the NBA, guys can become more and less valuable depending on injury status of star players, role players, and so on. As a result, you can always come and check who will be eligible for a tier 2, for a tier 1, and so on and so forth. So if you win a tier 1 card, you can expect one of these guys. But please note, i.e. if we scroll back here, if I come 320th, I would expect to get a lesser end tier 2 card. If I finish 151st, I would expect a top end tier 2 card. So it does provide some relative fairness across the board of that I would become higher than somebody and get a lesser reward. That doesn't seem fair. That's how Sorare NBA works in this regard. A great external website to use when playing Sorare NBA is soraredata.com. This is not an advert, it's simply what I use. Let's say you want to buy yourself a limited Joel Embiid card as your MVP, but you're not sure just how much he normally goes for, and you don't want to overpay it, of course. It's simple. You can go to auctions and offers, you can click on the limited card, you can then search it by Ethereum, euros, dollars, or pound sterling in my case. Scroll down and you can see all of the different auctions that have acquired and happened within the last month or so. I can scroll down here and the data goes back for days and days and days upon end. And you can see that the price varies. So 134, 140, 38, 109, 38, 36, 45. It's all different, but it'll give you a vague understanding of how much this card will go for. You can also see that the floor price across the last sort of 30 days, 14 days, 7 days, 3 days, and this is shown in Ethereum. You can also see their prior scores as well, because if you want to know you're dropping big dollar on an MVP, you want to know that they're going to score well. So this will show you their scores in Sorare terms. So he had that big 100 pointer and he'll always put up consistent green ones. You can see his L10's 56 and for the season it's 54, meaning his average for the season is 54. His last 40 games has been a 52 and his last 10 have been 56. This also shows the average minutes he's been playing, which is 34, 34, and the last 10 it's a little tick down on 31. You can also see news that come through, and this is normally provided and straight through by RotoWire, which is a news source for the NBA, a bit like Underdog. This is particularly helpful for role guys and sort of reserve players that you're not sure what their usage rate is and where in which they come off the bench or not. It will normally give you some fairly low level analysis for you to see this. Another feature about Sorare Data that I particularly use is that if you come across here and you go to my Sorare results, it will show you all of the lineups that you've currently got in that particular game. Now, as you can see, I've got a couple of lineups set from the limited and the rare side. In rare champion, I'm currently sitting 216th with 219.81 points. It'll show me where Sorare Data believes I'll finish based on its own projections and data that it has in the back end. These aren't gospel, these aren't 100%, it's just using previous stats and analysis to predict future results. As you can see, it's projecting me out 458th with a score of 230. Now, I'd like to think that it's going to score a little bit better than that, but this is it's a tool that's there to try and aid and help. You can also see, if you hover up at the top here, it will show me how many points I am inside of a tier 5. So I'm 9.87 inside, 3.81 inside of a tier 4. But it'll also tell me how many points I'm away. So I'm 8.13 away from a tier 3, 22.36 away from a tier 2, and so on. And finally, I'd say one of the better features of Sorare Data that I particularly use each game week. If you go across here to SO5 and Game Week Center, it'll bring up this page. We always switch over to basketball because basketball's our jam here at the Swingman Podcast. If you click on projections, make sure you're on the next game week that's coming, i.e. this one will be game week 29. And let's say I'm building a team for my common champion lineup. I've set my MVP, I've got 2 guys in there, and I have 2 guys left to pick from. I select one of my guys that's got a 38 L10. I've only got a 22 L10 left. So what I can do is scroll across, max out the max points average here to 22, and I can see what the data is projecting guys to get within a cap of L10 of 22. So they're really, really positive on Jonathan Isaac. He just came back from injury. He's got an L10 of 0 and a difference of 29. Jonathan Isaac is going to be very, very expensive because he has that L10 of 0, meaning you can play him and it wouldn't affect it. This isn't a very common case. I mean, Jonathan Isaac hasn't played in the NBA for over 2 years. So this doesn't happen regularly. This is just an exception to the calls. But on a normal week, I can see that Kyle Lowry has an L10 of 22. Their best game projection for him is a 29 across the 2 games he plays this game week. So they're projecting him at a +7, meaning his L10 of 22 would get me 29. They're thinking he's a good pick. You can do this across different sports, but we only, of course, use it for basketball. That's going to wrap that one up there. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't signed up to Sorare and Sorare NBA, my link's going to be in the description down below. You'll get yourself 20 free cards and you'll help me out more than you could possibly imagine. That's it. That's Sorare 101. That's your ultimate guide to everything you need to know. If you have any questions, make sure to put them in the comments down below or tweet us on Twitter at SwingmanPod or my personal at George_St. All the links will be in the description down below. I normally make Sorare videos pretty much for every single lock right here on this YouTube channel, so make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit that bell notification to make sure you never miss them. Thank you very much for watching this video, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.